The rest of the story. Marty just plain felt guilty. He didn't need a reason. He simply felt that way most of the time. Give you an example. When Marty was 12, his 11-year young brother slid down the banister, shot off the end of the banister, accidentally collided with grandmother, knocked the old woman out cold, and Marty thought she was dead. But here's the strange part. Marty blamed himself. Maybe thought he could have prevented the accident or something. Anyway, Marty took it so personally that he went upstairs to one of the bedrooms, opened the window, and jumped out. Jumped right out the window. Well, as it turned out, neither Marty nor his grandmother was in the least injured, but let me explain something further. Many months later, that same grandmother became ill, was rushed to the hospital. There was a parade going on in town, so Marty slipped out to see the parade. That's right. Grandma died in the hospital, and Marty, once more overcome by irrational guilt, went home, went upstairs to the bedroom, and jumped out the window again. This was not for show now. Nobody was watching, and yet, as he had before, Marty fell 2 stories. Picked himself up and dusted himself off completely, unhurt, and most significantly feeling as though he had somehow atoned for his imagined negligence. I don't think anybody can say for sure, but I have an idea of where this needlessly guilty conscience came from. And that's the rest of the story. When Marty was 6, his best friends were the grocer's sons who lived across the street. They spent a lot of time together until one day. The boy's mother answered the door. Marty asked, "Can the guys come out and play?" And the woman said her sons were not at home. But Marty had seen them come home only minutes before, and he told her so. Well, the woman stiffened. All right, Marty wanted the truth. The boys were no longer permitted to play with him. She gave Marty the reason and slammed the door. That, quite plausibly, was the day young Marty started feeling guilty for everything, even the things that were not his fault. You never, before this last 4 minutes, you never knew the child who jumped out a second-story window as a personally prescribed penance for sins that he never committed. You never knew that little boy who went home crying when he lost what seemed like the 2 best friends he'd ever have. But eventually the little boy grew into a man, and he learned not to misplace blame, and more important, to place it where it belonged. You see, the reason the grocer's wife decided to keep her sons away from Marty, to keep her sons away from 6-year-old Martin Luther King Jr., was the predictable one. The grocer's family was white, and Martin was not. You'll recall that toward the end of his life, Martin Luther King Jr. told us he had a dream that one day his own children would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Now you have revisited the day that dream was born. Because now you know the rest of the story.